been raining for almost 26 consecutive hours. And given that my time with this vehicle is limited to about 28 hours, I figured I would be like the Jeep Wrangler and just not allow anything to stop me from getting the job done. In fact, I'm just going to pull my hood up, not get my toque wet. Yes, it's a toque. As I mentioned in another video review, I have made it a goal of mine to test drive all plug-in hybrids, or as many as possible. And I wasn't kidding, because this is the all-new 2021 Jeep Wrangler 4xe Rubicon, just for good measure, right? See, it's all blue and everything. There's no blue on this side. But anyway, this is Jeep's first plug-in hybrid vehicle, and unlike most others of its nature that I've driven in the recent past, this is actually a very, very interesting and compelling plug-in hybrid. Now, I break that down to the fact that it is an incredibly niche plug-in hybrid vehicle, and that's why it absolutely works. We'll do the walk around. There's a lot to say about this vehicle. There's really no need to do an exhaustive walk around, but I will anyway, because that's the way I operate. And then we'll go for a little bit of a drive. Now, everything is extremely muddy, as you can see it. It's kind of washed off now because I drove through a lot of water. So I might not go deep off-roading, but I did yesterday, and heck, it's a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. What more? You can't expect any less from this type of vehicle. Anyhow, enough about that. Let's explore the Jeep Wrangler 4xe plug-in hybrid. I'm going to try and be a little bit more concise, but I'm convinced that I'm going to fail at this. Yeah, this is the Wrangler 4xe, and there's your there's proof, if you didn't believe me, based on the blue badging and well, these stickers. As far as styling is concerned, look, those are the visual upgrades. You can see all the blue accents, if you will, as opposed to the usual red tow hooks on the Rubicon. The only comment I can possibly say is, see the pod that FCA Stellantis added to the side there for the plug? I would have added an identical one there with some kind of pod light or LED, I don't know, some kind of light, just to even it out. But otherwise, it's a Wrangler. It's just fantastic no matter what. Base price for a Sahara 4xe. Now we're going to fully concentrate on the 4xe in the US is $47,995. The Rubicon goes for $51,695 in Canada. Sahara 4xe, $54,995. Rubicon, $59,995. So you obviously know right away that this one starts at 60,000 Canadian dollars. I won't go over everything you get with the Sahara, but I suppose almost needless to say that that's kind of the more urban version. It's got 20-inch wheels and a bunch of other stuff. But the Rubicon, well, it comes with the Sunrider soft top, heavy duty Dana axles, Rock Track 4x4 True Lock axles, and all the blue accents, and the 17-inch wheels, and these little bit more off-road focused tires. My tester right here has many options. Leather, cold weather package, so heated seats, steering wheel, all that. It's got the steel bumpers. It's got the Sky One touch roof, which I opened up very briefly yesterday, figuring, you know, the interior of these things can usually be washed out. So while it was raining, I just had to, because it's such a cool feature. It's also very expensive at $4,000. Advanced safety package, grand total $72,500. That's a lot of money for a Wrangler, but I mean, that's what they cost. And this one, I over a diesel. I never really thought I'd say that. One of the factors is that it has a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which is just fantastic on its own. What else can I say? There's nothing much else to say about the exterior. I have to show you a few things. Do you really want to see the back seats? There. Okay. Okay, so what differentiates the 4xe from the other Wranglers on the inside is, well, it comes down to, you got the blue stitching, so a little bit of mud everywhere, oopsie. These drive modes, which I will touch upon in a few moments once we get behind the wheel. They are, look how easy it is. It's just on the left of the steering wheel. There are only 3 buttons, no wheels, no menus to go through. And that motivation or thinking continues right here. That's your regen braking switch. That's all it is. Everything else is straightforward Jeep Wrangler. So you got the, because it's a Rubicon, you got the sway bar disconnect, the locking diffs. Let's just start it up, I suppose. Snake my hand through. Okay, there's your 8.4-inch Uconnect 4 display, which is, as always, nice and functional. There's your features for the heated or cold weather package. I mean, there isn't much else, again, on the inside. Rubicon, and it's blue, and that's it. I'm going to stop right there as far as that's concerned. We're going to keep going for a little drive. Hopefully it goes well. I decided to brave the mud anyway, and I'm glad I did, although the truck's a little bit of a mess now. But obviously that's not a surprise. The only thing, and I did check the sound, and well, you can't hear an engine because I set it up in electric. I suppose we can touch on that now. The drive mode. So you have hybrid, which is your default hybrid mode, self-explanatory. Electric essentially locks out as much as possible the petrol engine while you still have a charge. And then there's e-save, which is key to making all of this possible. As I left the house earlier this morning, I had 37 kilometers indicated on the range, which is not bad because FCA Stellantis says that you'll get about 35 kilometers, which works out to 25 miles. So very believable, and I've driven quite a bit, and I'm down to about 10 or 12 kilometers, but I've been doing some harsh-ish off-roading-ish, and I was in 4-low and all of that, so that can explain the draw on the 17 kilowatt-hour battery. Now the other trick to the hybrid system is that it's got 2 electric motors, one between the where the normal torque converter would be, so between the transmission and the engine, and then there's the e-torque motor, which replaces the alternator, which does the start-stop work and all of that. Now, none of that is revolutionary because it's a combination of things that exists in other hybrids and plug-in hybrids, but obviously never in such an application, and that can go so deep off-roading. I'm still actually in electric mode because I still have a little bit of battery charge left, as I mentioned. But there's so many highlights to bring up now as I crawl out of my little not-so-secret off-road spots. Total system power, because it does have, right, a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which on its own, be it in a Cherokee or in this, transforms these SUVs into impressively fast vehicles, like 270 HP, 295 pound-feet of torque. But when coupled with the electric motors, the power goes up to 375 horsepower. This is peak output, and 470 pound-feet of torque. That's it. You know it's there because if you really mash it hard, you can hit 60 miles per hour, 97 kilometers an hour in 6 seconds. And depending on the speed, on the 8-speed automatic transmission's gear, I mean, it's like a solid boost when you're passing or when you're merging or just wanting to get up to speed. This thing feels really quick but civilized at the same time. Now, on that topic of civilized, it's a Wrangler Rubicon. It's still some of the, well, in fact, the most civilized Wrangler, CJ, whatever that I've driven ever. But there's a weird thing that goes on, and I've only noticed it, to be honest, when everything is cool. And that's a weird thing when you take off in hybrid with some charge left in the battery. There's kind of a hunting between gears, you know, going from 1, 2 into 3, and the electric motor taking over. There's a weird hunting back and forth feeling that's really annoying, but not entirely unusual for most plug-in hybrids. I'm just gonna go into 2-wheel drive, and we're off because I was in 4 high and very muddy. Now, obviously, if there's a noise in the background that sounds like a tick, I'm gonna go into hybrid, and we're off. Yeah, so there's stuff flying that you hear in the background. It's because it's all the mud being flung into the body-colored fenders, which is an option for this vehicle. What else can I say about this? This has been a very, very quick review. I'm averaging just over 13 liters per 100 kilometers. As I've said, I've been locking out the battery's charge as much as possible just to do what I just did with the off-roading, because that in and of itself is the reason, in my opinion, why it exists. The 4xe plug-in hybrid version of the Wrangler. I suppose, like I said earlier on, this is a very niche plug-in hybrid vehicle, and that's why it works, because you want the experience of hearing the birds chirp as you're rock crawling, as opposed to hearing your V6 or your 4-cylinder engine growling as it's building up torque and boost or whatever as you're crawling. So you won't have that issue, and that's one of the beauties. Actually, you see me crawling up slowly a very steep angle, and that's the beauty of all electric torque. Oh, the phone is shaking a lot. I do apologize for that. I mean, that instant electric torque is just effortlessly allows you to crawl up such steep angles. So again, right, that's the niche application. The only other PHEV that I found was interesting because it was also niche was the Panamera e-Hybrid, which, I mean, the plug-in hybrid idea behind the vehicle is just performance and speed. It's not necessarily being green. I mean, 35 kilometers isn't a lot for a plug-in hybrid. It's a very narrow window of range. But apparently, well, not apparently, it could be enough for some, but I mean, I can't imagine anyone spending 60,000 plus for a Rubicon 4xe and not taking it off-roading, because that's what this truck is all about. What else can I say to that? This thing is unique. It's fantastic. I love the current generation of the Wrangler. It's just amazing, and yeah, that's it. This is fun. A lot of fun.